neighborhood denizens. So, sorry for the douchey sunglasses. I am road tripping from St. Louis back to Omaha. During my brief stay in St. Louis, I decided to go out and buy a Tesla Model Y. That's what we're in right now. If you watched my previous video, I was heading to St. Louis in my Lexus GX 460, also a 2022. And I've just left that back in St. Louis, let my brother and sister use it for the meantime. I'll probably retrieve it by flying out there and then bringing it back. But while I was there, I decided to, I don't know, on a whim, go out and buy one of the Hertz Model Ys. I ended up getting one right around 32 grand maybe, and has about 50,000 miles, 56,000 miles maybe. Good shape. I mean, it's clean, it's nice. You know, it's not brand new. There's, you know, chips in the hood and stuff like that. Not egregious ones, just, you know, present, as any wood vehicle that had 50,000 miles also would have. Wow, that was a sentence. But anyway, so just my first impressions, right? Look, I don't know that there's ever been a better car built. This is the stupidest thing for me to say, because I have been a solid Toyota Lexus owner for, you know, decades. I mean, I've owned other vehicles in that time. I had a Volvo S60, that was great at 2014, that was a good car. But over the last, I don't know, 10 years, between my wife and I, late wife, we've had Toyota RAV4, my first GX, Toyota MR2 Spider, a Toyota Land Cruiser, and now my Lexus GX 460, which I do intend to keep. But the more I drive the Tesla, man, that's going to be a tough decision when that day comes. And there's not a set date on the calendar for that. That day could be tomorrow. Anyway, what do I like about it so far? Well, it really is the easiest car to drive. I mean, you know, I've got an elderly mom, and I'm thinking about her, and, you know, like, would the future of self-driving mitigate, you know, the dangers of, you know, aging out reaction time, and, you know, the perils that, you know, after years, you know, your driving ends up becoming a privilege that gets taken away. Maybe self-driving will fix that. That's not the reason why I bought this car. That's the only reason I bought this car, is I've wanted to know what it's like to live with an EV and to be an urbanite. So completely dependent upon the supercharging network. And, you know, the other part of my world is I road trip a lot. So I wanted to see what it's like to actually road trip with an electric vehicle. And I realized that that's not exactly a fair comparison, because I think there is a difference between your standard electric vehicle and vehicles that are now able to use the supercharger network. The supercharger network is great. At least it is right now, given the reactions of Elon Musk. Maybe that will change. I mean, I don't know what happens when you fire your entire supercharger team, but as it is right now, the supercharger network is just amazing. So about 2 o'clock this afternoon, I started off on my road trip home, and part of that was about a 2-hour delay. I stopped off at the really friendly service joint, the Tesla in Melville, Missouri, or St. Louis, that area, South St. Louis, South County. And because the transaction was only 2 days ago, I didn't have have what I needed to be connected to the supercharger network. There was a kind gentleman there. He got me going with that. I took it a couple of miles away, tested it on a supercharger, charged up to like 80%. Got a car wash and some food, got on the road. So now I've been on the road. I am past Columbia, Missouri, so I've been on the road for a few hours. And because we did a factory reset, my full self-driving is not available. But I did have the opportunity to use that briefly this morning. And I am a driver. I love driving vehicles. The idea of the vehicle driving me, that scares me, that pains me. I don't know what kind of enjoyment I'm going to get out of driving. But then again, I take a lot of long road trips, and there are long spells where I would love to just be able to let the vehicle do its thing while I stay alert and aware. And, you know, but I don't have to deal with the input. So on that small stretch of highway where I actually utilized it, it worked really well. And I can see that being very handy. The other thing that I don't think people talk about much is when you're in stop and go traffic, the ability of the, you know, even the adaptive cruise control part of the, you know, the automation, even that, it's way better than any other vehicle I've been in, because, you know, you can actually get slowed down behind a vehicle, stop for a couple of minutes, and then when the vehicle in front of you starts moving, your car starts moving. So you don't have to sit there and be on the brake, on the accelerator, on the brake. When I lived out in LA, you know, I spent so much time on the 405, and I don't mind being stuck in traffic. I'm a weird guy. I really enjoy driving in pretty much all conditions. Traffic, bad weather, just anything. Just throw it at me. But the ability to just sit there and kind of ease off in traffic and the car just handles it for you, man, that takes so much frustration, which is a weird thing for me to say because I really don't get road rage, but it takes that constant input, you know, that oh, I'm going, oh, I'm stopping, oh, I'm going, oh, I'm stopping, and it just mitigates it. So kudos on that. Interior noise, low. The Bluetooth connectivity for you know, like phone calls, I've made several phone calls, and you know, my boss, I called him, and he was like, well, it sounds like you're in your office, you know. So, and we typically have constant issues with our number of like gadgetry, headphones, or you know, webcams and stuff like that. So usually our conversations start off with a hitch because we can't get the technology to work right, which is funny for a bunch of IT guys. But in this case, it was probably one of the first phone calls I've ever had with the guy that there wasn't some sort of hitch at the beginning, like, oh, I got to get my thing set, blah, blah, blah. And so as far as I can tell, that is high quality, and better quality than my Lexus, which, you know, is what it is. I am not ready to throw in the towel on Toyota and Lexus or anything else like that, because the one thing I am not certain of is the longevity and the maintenance of this car. My GX, I'm pretty sure if I do things right, I will get 500,000 miles out of that thing. And I don't know that with the Tesla. I mean, you know, mechanically it's a lot simpler than a ICE vehicle. I mean, you got a battery, you got a couple of motors, brakes, and a very complicated computer system. I think if I see, well, my guess is, if I see any lack of durability in the vehicle, it'll probably be some sort of a CPU or display failure or something else like that. So that's my anticipation anyway. But yeah, this car is so good so far. I've been to 2 charging stations. One required me to be there for 10 minutes. One required me to be there for 15 minutes. The one that required me to be there for 10 minutes, I ended up overcharging to about, I think it recommended that I charge to 60%, and I charged to 80. You know, why not? I had to walk the dog anyway, and you know, so it was fine. But I don't get the sense that I'm spending more time at charging stations than I did at gas stations. And let me sort of explain that. When I road trip and I stop for gas, in the Lexus, that's usually around between 200 and 250 miles, which is kind of, so far my experience, what it's like with the Tesla. You know, it's every couple hundred miles. And in that, I have to, you know, go to the bathroom, fill the tank, walk the dog, you know, maybe stop and get some food. And I have a car wash subscription, and usually, you know, I'll run through a car wash just to get the bugs off the windshield. So my stops are usually, you know, 20, 30, maybe even 40 minutes. So I don't know. I just don't think it's I don't think it's even a difference in the game, much less a game changer. This last, the second place that I've charged at was a Holiday Inn Express. They had superchargers in a back lot. Well, not even a back lot. It was just the back side of the parking lot. Started charging, walked in, used the bathroom there, got some ice, and headed out. Got a car wash. That was pretty much it, and I'm back on the road. Maybe 25 minutes. So I really don't know, but comfort-wise, car's great. The Model Y. It's got all the power you would need. It handles great. Software is very intuitive. There's still a couple features that I'm missing that won't probably happen until the full transfer of ownership. And when I was at that service center, we did a full factory reset of the software, and after that, I wasn't able to engage full auto, or the autopilot, whatever they call it. Not the full self-driving, but basically the enhanced adaptive cruise control. That could be because I couldn't do cruise control for a while because the cameras hadn't been recalibrated. That went on in the background, and after about 10-15 minutes of driving, I'm guessing, I tried again, and I was able to select cruise control, but not autopilot. So as I'm going along this journey, I'll try autopilot a couple of times. If it engages, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. I'm a driver. I'm fine with that. So, yeah, there's really not much to say other than I was expecting a video with a bit of humor, maybe even a little bit of drama, and this is what you get. So, more on the journey later. I've still probably got 3-4 hours ahead of me, something like that. So we shall see how it goes. Anyway, peace.